Right now, we're going to discuss one of the issues that, in fact, was not discussed on either of the two big debates, either on Channel 4 or on ITV, and not really even on the Conservative Home conversation that was had back last Friday between the various different candidates for the Tory party leadership. And the one subject that so many people tell me they want to hear about and they want to know about is what's going to happen with illegal migrant crossings. How is each one of these candidates going to deal with them? Because we've heard Rishi Sunak in an interview saying that he would maintain the Rwanda policy, but he hasn't actually sorted out or said what he would do in terms of actually making it happen. And I think we've heard Penny Mordaunt saying that she wouldn't do away with the ECHR, which wouldn't be very helpful unless you can find another way around getting these people to Rwanda. But let's talk now to Henry Bolton, chairman of BritPac, international borders expert, of course, because we've just been told the migrant levels have reached already this year 15,000. And I wouldn't be at all surprised if that's a gross underestimate. Henry, a very good morning to you.
Hi, morning, Mike.
Thank you very much indeed for joining us. I mean, first of all, let's talk a bit about the numbers. You know, you and I both know that there are many more people coming here illegally than we are recording, because an awful lot of the boats arrive without any sort of escort at all. And if they walk into the local town, whether it be Dungeness or Pett Level, nobody's ever going to hear from them again.
Yeah, that's right, Mike. But it's not only the people who come across on the boats. Remember, this all started with people coming across on the back of trucks. Yeah, that's still going on. It's reduced, but it's still happening. We've also got other people who come in through flights, various flights that come in. It's proportionally a small number. But we've got a lot of people trying to enter this country, and many of them do so successfully, and many of them are able to do it below the radar.
Yeah. And as far as the 15,000 that have been counted having come in small boats this year, this is the 12th consecutive day, apparently, of channel crossings. The weather's been very hot, as we know, but it's probably been quite calm on the waters as well, right?
It has. I mean, I'm down on the southeast coast now in Kent. It's been relatively calm the last few days. Monday, I don't know what the figures were for yesterday, but on Monday, over 300 made the crossing. This is not going away, Mike. And if anybody in government or in politics or in policing or border force tries to tell us that the situation is improving, they are quite frankly wrong. This is, so far this year, we've had nearly double what we had last year. We were at about 7,500 at this point last year. So we're now on 15,000. The thing is, as I've said before, and I will continue saying until somebody actually listens, you cannot simply stop these people in the channel. Like anything, I apologise for the noise in the background,
right.
But like anything, when you're trying to prevent a flow type problem, you've got to layer your defence. You've got to project your efforts upstream of the problem. And we're simply not doing that. The UK had a very effective programme or project. It was called Reflex, brought together 12 different government agencies operationally on the ground in a whole range of different countries back in 2000 up until 2006, when Tony Blair pulled the funding on it.
Right.
We have to reinitiate some of those sort of approaches that were highly effective tactically and from an intelligence point of view on the ground at disrupting the networks that move these people.
Well, you wouldn't think it would be that difficult to do after all this time. For heaven's sake, they must know who these people are. I mean, David Neal, the Independent Chief Inspector of Borders and Immigration, has been in the Times today condemning Priti Patel, saying that he gave her a report some time ago, which she's basically sitting on, in which he had 4 time-sensitive recommendations for fixing this problem. I don't know what they were. I don't know whether you know what they were. But, I mean, there just doesn't seem to be much urgency about any of this.
Well, one of the problems, Mike, is that there is no coordination or cohesion across government. Now, without going into the Tory party leadership debate, but I do agree this should have been a front and centre issue in that debates and discussions and hustings so far, and it has not been. But one of the things that's been absent from government for a long time, going back to some previous governments as well, has been a lack of cohesion and unity of effort across government. And why do I say that in this case? Because it's not only about the Home Office here. Home Office is central to it. Home Office is absolutely it's really got to address some serious, fundamentally systemic problems and lack of capacity and ability within the Home Office. But they've also got to work with the Foreign, Commonwealth and Development Office, with the Ministry of Defence, and so on. So there's got to be a department for transport, and they're not doing that. Each one of these government departments is presently siloed in this respect. They do their own thing. That has to change, and that's got to be a cabinet level issue. I've told you before, Mike, I've helped 14 different governments in different countries to address similar problems of similar scale. And each and every time I have insisted that before I help them, they agree to appoint a national level coordinator to ensure that we get a fully comprehensive and integrated approach. If you've got one ministry or one government department taking the lead on it, the others aren't going to follow suit. They've got their own ministers, their own secretaries of state. It has to come from a national level of coordination. It's not happening.
No, but we also know as well that inside of the Home Office there's a great deal of opposition to the policy generally, and even a great deal of opposition just actually practically, where it seems to me that they're more interested in sticking up refugees welcome stickers than they are actually doing their job as instructed by the government.
Mike, we've got a huge degree of naivety in a lot of elements of the civil service in Whitehall civil service. The Home Office is one of the worst. We've got a real problem with a belief in making Britain work for itself. We go back to the Brexit debate, and again, that's impacted on the leadership hustings, I know, and the debates, of course. But Brexit hasn't yet been delivered in terms of its full potential. We have not taken back control of our borders, and one of the problems that's contributed towards that is the fact that the civil service, quite honestly, culturally, institutionally, are opposed to us doing it. They simply don't think it is the right way. Well, my message to them, if I was Home Secretary or the Prime Minister, would be, listen, you are not elected by the people of this nation. They voted to leave the European Union. One of the reasons was because they're concerned about the impact of immigration. They expect us to take control. We're your elected leaders. You are there to do our bidding. It's time you screwed the bobbin on that. Otherwise, you need to find a new job. I'm sorry, but it's not good enough. And the civil service really is an obstacle in this regard.
And what about the three the three contenders who are left in the race? Have you got any confidence in any of them changing this?
Not a great deal, no, Mike. I'm always one to say that there is a really serious lack of statesmanship, strategic level leadership in British politics. We've got a whole raft of MPs sitting in the House of Commons who all think they're pretty good at chairing meetings and so on. I look at committee meetings which are chaired by MPs, the parliamentary committees, and I'm sorry, but they're badly chaired, they're badly run. The discussion and the questioning is poorly organised and managed. I'm sorry, but we simply don't have the leadership skills and acumen in government and in Parliament that we need. So that then feeds through to the selection of cabinet ministers, of course. It's a small pool from which to select cabinet ministers, and it's a poor quality pool. So we end up with poor quality ministers. What we've got at the moment are three candidates who in many respects are all very weak. I have to say, though, Mike, if I've got to select one in terms of toughness, resilience and robustness in getting the job done and consistency in messaging in that regard, it's got to be Liz Truss. But that's not to say that I'm a big Liz Truss fan. I'm not. I'm taking the worst of a bad bunch, or the best of a bad bunch in that respect. We're in a bad position.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. Henry Bolton, thank you very much indeed. Chairman of BritPac, an international border expert, not particularly optimistic about any of the candidates changing much about what happens across our borders and what happens particularly in the Channel. But somebody's got to do something, surely, to heavens.